For me, thinking about developing talent and the people who I work with is really at what my job is. I mean, as a leader, regardless of whether I be the leader of the business or a leader of a team, that you are in that role because you need to lead. And for me, the best way to lead is to get the best out of the people who work for you. And that, at its absolute essence, is getting the best out of individuals. So if I'm not doing that, then what am I doing? Because I've got a whole bunch of technical subject matter experts inside this business who don't need me to tell them how to do their job. If I'm not doing that, what am I doing? It has to be developing their people. For me, evolution as a leader, me personally, has come with age. The longer I have been in a leadership role, the more confident I have become about me and where I'm at in my career, which in turn I think was the critical trigger for leadership being a representation of ambition and ego, which typically is a very individual characteristic, to it being about collective and team. And I don't know when that happened. Maybe it was when I had kids, or maybe it was over a period of time, but I think it definitely coincided with age and experience. So, I think at some point it shifted from it being about me to it being about the team. Sponsorship, I think, is, if I think about my own career, probably the most important ingredient to what's taken me to where I am today. If I think about all of the critical moments in my career where I shifted gears or shifted roles or shifted organisations, I was put into that position or backed by someone. And that someone really is someone who had my back, someone who was willing to take a risk on me, someone who saw something in me that they wanted to see more of. And I think that's probably best just translated as someone sponsoring me. I think it's probably, as I say, for me, one of the most important ingredients to what's taken me to where I am now. I think to be a great sponsor, you've got to actively see yourself in that role or having that responsibility, which is a very different role than management, clearly, but it's also a different role than leadership, because leadership carries with it a formality, typically in reporting lines, whereas sponsorship can transverse reporting lines. If you're aware that you have the opportunity to make a difference in someone's career, even for someone who might not directly report to you, that in the first instance puts you in a great position to be a sponsor. But I think more than anything, you just have to care. Like, you have to care about others, and you need to genuinely want to see others go to a place in their career that you are party to or contribute to, and that they otherwise might not have got their own. The advocacy piece really is when it shifts from, I guess, a moment where there's more on the line. When you care about someone, that's fine, you can care about them, but when it shifts to a point of advocacy, you're actually investing something in them, whether it be your own individual brand, whether it be your reputation, whether it be your collective networks. And I think when you get to that position of advocacy and you're making a deliberate decision to make an investment of time or of, as I say, all those individual components, that is much more than just care. And I think that's when it becomes true sponsorship, because both of you have something to gain and both of you potentially have something to lose, which I think is always when you've got, when the real magic happens. The LIFT program brings to your foreground the structures and the disciplines of something that you might be typically doing intuitively anyway. I think the best part about it is that it forces you to think about how you are going about the concept of sponsorship, the concept of advocacy, in a more structured way, which then hopefully means that it goes beyond just the one individual that I'm sponsoring through the program now, to it becoming something that I just do more and more and more. And I typically would like to think I do it anyway, but it just allows me to cross-check actually how effectively I am doing it, how effective that sponsorship is at delivering, and just whether I just need to turn the burner up on it a bit more. I think the program's been great because you get a chance to sit next to someone who's doing what you're doing, albeit maybe in a different part of financial services, and observe and learn from them. It's great to learn individual skills, and I've learned a heap through my work with Yolanda, but for me it's about listening and observing what people like me are doing with their sponsors. From my interactions with Kelly, I think it's formalised a relationship which was probably informal before, but it's definitely brought us closer together. It's created a framework for us to test our progress both about what I'm bringing to her as a sponsor and what she wants to deliver as someone who's really responsible for her own career. And, you know, I just don't think you can substitute for the fact that in a world where you can forget the importance of setting time in a diary and having meaningful conversations, the program just really forces you to do it, and that's a great thing.